All right, shalom, shalom. It's Brother Yatazadak here of Israel. I'd like to start off by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Today we're going to go into Genesis chapter 5, going into the Hebrew. So Lord willing, you're edified, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Let's get right into it. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 1. It reads, so this is a fairly easy chapter, right? The headline or the header is the descendants of Adam, right? Genesis chapter 5 and verse 1. And it reads, this is the writing, right, or record, right, where you could say book, right, more properly. But I would just say record, right? So this is the record of the generations of Adam, in the day which created the powers unto Adam, in their similitude, in the similitude of the powers. They made them, right? So it reads, Zah Sapar Thaladath Adam Bayawam Bara'a Alahayim Adam Badamath Alahayim Asha Athawa, right? So really it would read, right, in the similitude of the powers made them, right? Genesis chapter 5 and verse 2. Male and female were created them, and they blessed them, and they called to their name man, right, in the day of their creation. Sakar Wana Kwaba Bara'am Waya Barak Atham Waya Kwara'a Atha Shama Adam Bayawam Ha Bara'am. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 3. Lived Adam 30 years, or Salakia, 30 and 100 years, 130 years, and brought forth in his similitude according to his likeness, and he called to his name Seth. Wa Yechaya Adam Shalashim Wa Ma'ath Shana Wa Yalad Badamathwa Katazalamwa Wayakwa Ra'a Atha Shamwa Shath. And it came Genesis chapter 5 and verse 4. And it came to pass the days of Adam, afterwards he brought forth unto Seth were 800 years, and he brought forth sons and daughters. Right? So it reads, Wa Yahayawa, Yamaya, Adam, Harya, Halayadawa, Atha Shath, Shamana Ma'ath, Shana Wayalad, Banyam Wa Banath. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 5. And it came to pass all the days of Adam, afterwards and it came to pass all the days of Adam which he lived were 900 years and 30 years, and he died. Right? It's 930 years. Wa Yahayawa, Kal Yamaya, Adam, Ashar Chaya, Tashai, Ma'ath Shana, Wa Shalashim Shana, Wa Yamath. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 6. And lived Seth 5 years and 100 years, 105 years, and he brought forth to Enosh. Wa Yahaya Shath Chamash Shanyam Wa Ma'ath Shana Wa Yalad Atha Anawash. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 7. And lived Seth afterwards he brought forth unto Enosh 7 years and 800 years. And he brought forth sons and daughters. That is 870 years. 807 years, Salakia. Wa Yachaya Shath Choria Ha Layadawa Tha Anawash Shabai Shanyam Wa Shamna Ma'ath Shana Wa Yalad Banyam Wa Banath. And it came to pass all the days of Seth were 12 years and 900 years. That's 912 years. And he died. Wa Yahayawa called Yamaya Shath Shathiam Aisha Asherah Shana Wa Tashai Ma'ath Shana Wa Yamath. And lived Enosh 90 years and brought forth unto Canaan. Wa Yechaya Anash, really you could just say Anash. Tashayim Shana Wa Yalad Atha Kwayanan. So Enosh lived 90 years and he begat Canaan. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 10. And lived Enosh, afterwards he brought forth to Canaan 15 years and 800 years. That's 815 years. Salakia. And he brought forth sons and daughters. Wa Yechaya Anash Choria Halayadawa Atha Kwayanan Chamash Asherah Shana Wa Shamna Ma'ath Shana Wa Yalad Banyam Wa Banath. And it came to pass all the days of Enosh were 5 years and 900 years. That's 905 years. And he died. Wa Yahayawa call Yamaya Anash Hamash Shanyam Wa Tashai Ma'ath Shana Wa Yamath. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 12. And lived Canaan 70 years and brought forth unto Mahalalel. Wa Yechayawa Kwayanan Shabayim Shana Wa Yalad Atha Mahalal Allah. Genesis chapter 5 and 13. And lived Canaan, afterwards he brought forth to Mahalalel 40 years and 800 years. That's 840 years. He brought forth sons and daughters. Wa Yechaya Kwayanan Choria Halayadwa Atha Mahalal Allah. Abarayim, it's like Arabayim Shana Wa Shamna Ma'ath Shana Wayalad Banyam Wabanath. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 14. And it came to pass all the days of Canaan were 10 years and 900 years, and he died. That's 910 years. Wa Yehayawa, Kal Yamaya, Kwayanan, Ashar, Shunyam, Wathashai, Ma'ath, Shana, Wayamath. And lived Mahalalel 5 years and 60 years. And he brought forth unto Jared. Wa Yechaya, Ma Halal Allah, Hamash Shunyam, Washashim, Shana, Wayalad, Athayarad. Genesis chapter 5, verse 16. And lived Mahalalel. Afterwards he brought forth unto Jared 30 years and 800 years. That's 830 years. And he brought forth sons and daughters. Wa Yechaya, Ma Halal Allah, Ahoriah, Halayadwa, Athayarad, Shalashim, Shana, Wa Shamna, Ma'ath, Shana, Wayalad, Banyam, Wa Banath. And it came to pass all the days of Mahalalel were 590 years and 800 years. It's 895 years, and he died. Wa Yahayawa, Kal Yamaya, Mahalal Allah, Hamash, Wathashayim Shana, Wa Shamna, Ma'ath, Shana, Wayamath. And lived Jared 62 years and 100 years. That's 162 years. And he brought forth unto Enoch. Wa Yechaya, Yarad, Shathiam, Wa Shashiam, Shana, Wa Ma'ath, Shana, Wayalad, Athachanak. And lived Jared. Afterwards he brought forth unto Enoch 800 years. And he brought forth sons and daughters. Wa Yechaya, Yarad, Horiah, Halayadwa, Athachanak, Shamna, Ma'ath, Shana, Wayalad, Banyam, Wabanath. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 20. And it came to pass all the days of Jared were 62 years and 900 years, and he died. That's 962 years. Wa Yahayawa, Kal Yamaya, Yarad, Shathiam, Washashiam, Shana, Wathashai, Ma'ath, Shana, Wayamath. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 21. And lived Enoch 65 years, that's 65 years, and he brought forth to Methuselah. Wa Yechaya, Hanak, Hamash, Washashim, Shana, Wayalad, Atha, Mathashalach. That's not talking about Muhammad. That's what the Arabs say. It's bugged out. Right? They say that's Methuselah. Right? It's utter stupidity. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 22. And walked Enoch with the gods. Afterwards he brought forth unto Methuselah 300 years, and he brought forth sons and daughters. Vayatha Chalak Chanak Atha Alahayim Horia Ha Layadwa Atha Matha Shalach Shalash Ma'ath Shana Wayalad Banyam Wabanath. Right? So what does it mean? Enoch walked with the gods, with the powers. Right? Meaning he walked in an acceptable way, right? With Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Right? Just like Noah. Right? And that's in the Torah. Right? He walked with the powers. As in he did what was pleasing to the Lord. Right? And he was meant to do that because he was meant to keep a certain way in the earth. Right? Because you got to keep in mind, right? Adam had other children, right? These other patriarchs had sons and daughters. But there was a certain line that the Lord preserved time in and time out. Right? You got the in the garden, right? Adam, his wife, right? It's not talking about a whole all the Adams, right? He chose a particular Adam, which was right, because Salakia, the Lord is dealing with the spirits, right? The Lord is not dealing with the flesh, right? Which is why, right, you have Israel created last, because those are righteous spirits. Some of them have to be, 2/3 of them have to be cleansed by thermonuclear fire, right? But they're all can be right in the kingdom of heaven. Because what does it say? I believe that's the book of Ephesians, right? The Lord is going to, there's a particular term for that, consolidate, right? Things in heaven and in earth, right? So the Lord always dealt with the spirits, right? The Lord, the reason why he created Israel was because, right, all Israel were meant to go off, but the Lord always preserved, right? Even when men went off, a particular prophet, messenger, whatever the case may be, right, to keep the way of the Lord, right? So why was Abraham called out of the land of his nativity, right? Why was Adam thrust out? He was made to go off. Abraham was going off, right, before the Lord called him out of that way, right? The way of Mesopotamia, the land of the land of the Chaldeans, right? Same with the remnant, right? They're being called out, right? Out of the wickedness of America, Babylon the Great, right? So there's a pattern, right, that is happening, right? Which brings me to Enoch, right? Enoch walked with the powers, meaning he was, right, preserved, and he was caught up, right, with the Lord took him, right? This reminds me, I'm speaking as a man, right, because we here at Hero Israel, we follow the doctrine of the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, right? And I'm making it clear, right? But there's, right, that this is just, I'm speaking by as a man, like Paul, like Paul the apostle spoke about, right? Because was not Elijah taken up? Was he not sent, right, before the great day of the Lord, right? So before every messenger, you have one that paves the way, right? So who came, right, afterwards when you follow this lineage, right? You have a messenger named Noah, right? You prophesied the destruction of the world, right? So there's always, you have particular messengers raised up, right, to forward a way, right? Not that I'm comparing that with Elijah and Yahushua, right? Or Abba Bivens and right, the prophets that are raised up in these latter days, But you see, there's no actual particular order when it comes to certain things, right? Because the elder Abba Bivens was raised up, right, to be a messenger, right, to push a way, right, to push a mindset, which will come through what? Uh, 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 One West, right? The elders and apostles of Great Millstone, right? Which have the 144% truth, right? Meaning we're giving you, right, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding continually, right? Sincere. We're giving you precepts, right? Every video that you go in GMS, you're always going to see precepts. Not like IUIC, right? You just have man pleasing, right? Praises of men. We're here to tell you what you like and what you don't like, right? Whether you like it or not. We're telling you, thus saith the Holy Bible, right? Repent. The kingdom of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is at hand, right? So that is what Enoch was brought forth for, right? He kept a particular way, right? Noah came after and he prophesied what? For 40 years, the flood, right? And that's eerily similar to what Elder Apostle Har is doing, right? Over 40 years, right? Now this is all just, right? Speaking as a man, like I said, right? Did not it say, right, that John the Revelator will prophesy against many kingdoms and nations, right? So, we can only speculate, right? I'm not saying Elder Apostle Har is John the Revelator or Paul the Apostle, because Paul had a long run too, right? So you can't really, right? I'm just speaking, right, as a man, like Paul the Apostle, right? But these things are eerily similar, right? Elijah got caught up. Enoch got caught up, right? Enoch preserved the way, right? Adam was brought out of the garden, right? To go off, right? But it was for a reason, right? Israel, right? The remnant is being called out of America, Babylon the Great, right? So all these messengers, they kept a particular way, right? They were raised up to forward a mindset in the earth, right? So it says, Genesis 5:23, and it came to pass all the days of Enoch were 560 years, Salaki, and 300 years. Yahaya, Kal, Yamya, Yamaya, Chanak, Hamash, Washashim, Shana, Washalash, Ma'ath, Shana. Genesis chapter 5:24. And he walked Enoch with the gods, and he was not, because they took him, the gods. Wayatha Chalak, Chanak, Atha Ha Alahayim, Wa Ayanawal, Kaya Lakwach, Athawa, Alahayim. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 25. And lived Methuselah 780 years, and 100 years, and brought forth to Lamech. Wa Yechaya, Matha Shalach, Shabai, Washamyam, Shamanyam, Shana, Wa Ma'ath, Shana, Wa Yalad, Atha Lamach. And lived Methuselah, Genesis 5:26, and lived Methuselah, afterwards he brought forth unto Lamech 280 years, and 700 years, that's 782 years. And he brought forth sons and daughters. Wa Yechaya, Matha Shalach Achoria Ha Layadwa Atha Lamak Shathium Wa Shamanyam Shana Wa Shabai Ma'ath Shana Wa Yalad Banyam Wa Banath. Genesis chapter 5 and 27. And it came to pass, all the days of Methuselah were 69 years and 900 years. And he died. That's 969 years. Wa Yechayawa Kal Yamaya Matha Shalach Tashai Washashim Shana Wa Tashai Ma'ath Shana Wa Yamath. Genesis chapter 5 and 28. And lived Lamech 82 years and 100 years. That's 182 years. He brought forth a son. Wa Yechayawa, or Salakia, Wa Yechaya Lamach Shathium Wa Shamanyam Shana Wa Ma'ath Shana Wa Yalad Ban. Genesis chapter 5 and 29. And he called to his name Noah, to say, this he will give us rest from our work, and from our toil, from the toil of our hands, which is of the ground, which has cursed the Lord. Waya Kwara'a Atha Shamwa Nacha La Amar Za Ya Nacham Nawa Ma'aisha Nawa Wama Aitazaban Yad Yanawa Man Ha'adama Ashar Ara Yahweh. Right, because Noah was to bring forth the word of the Lord, to prophesy destruction. Right? So when it says he will give us rest from our work, right, from our toil, right, which the Lord cursed, right, because you still had, right, since the time of Adam, right, wickedness increasing in the earth, right. Adam was supposed to keep a particular way. He was cast down, driven out from the garden. The serpent was there. The other nations were there, right? So this symbolizes what, right? It reminds me of the Tower of Babel, right? All these philosophies prospering, righteousness being diminished, right? So as you have, right, wickedness increase, right, righteousness diminishes, right, but Noah was brought forth to what? Prophesy destruction, right? So this is how he would give, right, those that rest, right, because that rest was what? There's going to be a preservation, right? I believe that's 8 souls, right, in order right, to preserve a line, right, which will be multiplied in the earth, and then later on, right, that chosen seed would be continued, right, to keep pushing that particular way, right, through Ibar, right, through Abraham, right, like it says in see if I can get that precept real quick. This is Genesis chapter 18 and verse 16. And the man rose up from thence and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham went with him to bring them on the way. And the Lord said, Shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. Right? That's through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him. They shall keep the way of the Lord to do justice and judgment, and the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him. Right? That's his children and his household. Right? Again, that's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right? So there is a particular way, right? Certain things, right, had to be spoken, right? Things had to come to pass, right? That old world had to be destroyed, right? Just like the post-flood, right, world. Right now, the Lord is going to come with vengeance, flaming fire, chariots, right? Thermonuclear purification, because that's all it is, right? So that is our rest, which is coming, which is the kingdom of heaven, right? Because, right, if you say it's talking about, right, actual soil and, right, well, there was no actual, right, change, right, after the flood, right? This is just talking about, right, the wickedness that increased, right? That had to be, many people had to be destroyed, right? Genesis chapter 5 and verse 30. And lived Lamech, afterwards he brought forth unto Noah 95 years and 500 years, and he brought forth sons and daughters. That's 595 years. Wa Yechaya Lamech Acharya Ha Layadwa Atha Nacha Chamash Wa Tashayim Shana Wa Chamash Ma'ath Shana Wa Yalad Banyam Wa Banath. And it came to pass all the days of Lamech were 77 years, 700 years, and he died. Wa Yechaya call Yamaya Lamech Shabai Wa Shabayim Shana Wa Shabai Ma'ath Shana Wa Yamath. Genesis chapter 5 and verse 32. And it came to pass, Noah was the son of 500 years, and he brought forth Noah unto Shem, to Ham, and to Japheth. Wa Yechaya Nacha Ban Chamash Ma'ath Shana Wa Yalad Nacha Atha Shem Wa Atha Cham Wa Atha Yapath. Right, so this is Genesis chapter 5, going into the Hebrew. Lord willing, you're edified. It's Brother Yatazdak, hero of Israel. And as always, giving the honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Mekakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Kwam Yasha Allah, Abad of Abal, Shalom.